Third time's the charm, am I right? Anyway, as we know, Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 will be coming out later this year. And I want to tell you why I'm actually excited for it. Okay, so as we all know, the original showrunner of Fear the Walking Dead, Dave Erickson, he left the show after Season 3. And then Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg, the new showrunners, went on for Season 4. Now, Dave Erickson really, he really figured out Fear's identity with the third season. The third season was the most consistently good season. So it was like third time's a charm. So maybe it'll be the same for Season 6. That's one reason. Now, I have better reasons, so don't worry about that. Second of all, as we know, Fear Season 4 was like a transitional season. We were doing the time skip from Season 3, we were bringing over Morgan, and we were kind of switching out the way the show was. Season 5 was about building hope for the characters that pretty much lost all their hope. And in Season 6, as we've heard, now there was an article I read from Digital Spy, and unfortunately I can't find the article. I don't know if they got rid of it or something, but the article was really good. I had a interview with one of the crew members, not the cast, the crew members, and he was talking about the way the first 8 episodes were and how it would be more like an anthology. Now, we know Fear Season 6 will be like an anthology because Scott Gimple did say so. Now, if you don't know what an anthology is like, you have a story. Like, look at the show American Horror Story, right? You have the first season that has its plot, and then Season 2 is an entirely new plot with, like, new characters and stuff. I think so. I've never watched American Horror Story, but that's pretty much what an anthology is. Now, regarding the other stuff, even though it will be more like an anthology, the show there will be, like, ongoing plot lines that will keep the episodes together, and it looks like Season 6 will fix some of the problems that people had with Season 5 and Season 4. First of all, as we saw from the trailer, it does look like color is coming back, so the show won't be so like washed out looking as the last 2 seasons were. And we will get that colour of the first 3 seasons and the flashback scenes in Season 4 back, which I'm all for. Another thing is regarding other things that it looks like they're fixing. One problem a lot of people had with Season 5 was that all the characters were pretty much all the same. Like, there was no uniqueness between them. I've somewhat disagreed with that. Like, a lot of people feel as though Daniel was very toned down. If you pay attention with Daniel, now this isn't a knock at people, but if you pay attention towards Daniel in the season, you can tell he is visually upset with the fact that Morgan's group are so willing to let people live. When Dwight talks about letting the guy live, you can see Daniel in the background visually annoyed by this. He even says in episode 9 that Logan showed the value of his word, and pretty much that they should have just killed him right then and there. Now, seeing how the characters are going to be split up, they've said that while they are split up, they are going to start thinking in different ways. So we could see the characters like Alicia and Strand kind of go back to a more old style. Like, a lot of people liked Strand's more snake-like nature, so we could see him act more snaky in Season 6. I mean, it looks like he is going to be snaky with Ginny's group, and we could see Daniel more, aggressive, more brutal. We could even see characters we haven't really seen as brutal get brutal, like John Dory. Who knows, maybe even after all this shit with Morgan. I mean, if you saw the trailer, which, by the way, the trailer looked fucking great. Now, granted, trailers for Fear the Walking Dead always look great. I love Season 5 personally, and the trailers for that season looked great, and a lot of people, even people that dislike season 5, have said the trailers were actually pretty good, and that was like the best part about those seasons. But if you notice something with Morgan in the trailer, when he wakes up, his eyes are all bloodshot. It's like he's seeing red. Remember what Morgan said in the Clear episode of The Walking Dead? He sees red. So this could be like visual symbolism to show that Morgan might be going back to a more ruthless route, if he survives, of course. Now, eventually I do want to see the Morgan character find a balance, kind of like the character of Carol, how she would just kill pretty much anytime there's a conflict. Her immediate action is to kill. Eventually she got really upset with killing and didn't want to kill at all, and eventually in season 9 she found a balance between killing and giving people a chance. Like, look at the way she treats the Highwaymen. She says, like, when Jerry and the Kingdom are pretty much wanting to kill the Highwaymen, Carol's just like, wait a minute. They wrote a letter with proper grammar, for Christ's sake. Let's just give them a chance. And if they don't want to, if they don't want to join us, then we kill them, I think eventually Morgan can get to that point, although I think it will be harder than when Carol had to do it, because with Morgan, he is more damaged. He is way more damaged. And hopefully the characters and himself, they can get him on this path, because one thing I liked about season 5 with Morgan is I liked how he was starting to come out a bit more. Like, he was starting to talk about his family a lot more, and how it really seemed as though he was starting to move on. Now, obviously, you're never going to get over the tragedy of losing your wife and son, but it seemed like he was getting to a point where he wasn't so crazy over it, and it just seemed like he was willing to go on a new path. So I liked that. I loved his connections with Grace in season 5, and that's why the mall episode from season 5, I know a lot of people don't like that episode, that's my favourite episode of season 5. Just saying. Anyway, so another thing they've said is, obviously what I said a while ago was that the characters are going to be a bit more different minded. They're not going to be so like minded like they were in season 5. They're going to be more opposing of each other, and it looks like, yes, for the first half of the season they are pretty much going to be, from what it sounds like, it's going to take an approach where it's like, episode 2 you may get Alicia, episode 3 you will get John, episode 4 you will get June, episode, like something like that. Now, here's the thing with Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, that normally never works out when they do those split episodes like that, and sometimes they can work out when we can get great episodes like Clear and Here's Not Here, but they really have to make these episodes really interesting if they want to make this work. Now again, the season 6 trailer looks darker, because that's another thing people really dislike about season 5. It was too, in a way, it was a bit too light-hearted for something that's in a fucking post-apocalyptic world. But it looks like Fear season 6 is going to be a lot more darker. It's kind of going to be more like its old self. And all these things are making me excited for it, because season 3 is my favourite season of Fear. I think it was just so good. The characters were great. It had a great storyline. I really enjoyed season 3. And I thought season 4 started off really fucking strong. I thought the first half of season 4, along with season 3, was my absolute favourite part of Fear. Anyway, so those are pretty much all my reasons why I'm excited for Fear season 6. It does look like it is moving in a more, it's moving in the right track. And while I don't think this season is going to come out as like, that's the best season of Fear, I think it will be considered a huge improvement over seasons 5 and mostly season 4, like mainly with the second half of the season. I think it will be put more towards the good side of things, and we could see Fear make a comeback. And after The Walking Dead made a comeback with season 9 and 10, I think it's time Fear does that as well, because The Walking Dead had those two really disliked seasons, 7 and 8, and then it came back with 9 and 10. And then Fear has season 4 and 5, comes back with 6. So that's pretty much everything I want to say. Again, I am really excited for season 6, and I definitely can't wait to check it out when it comes out later this year. And that's everything I want to say. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.